So it is about time that we replace this. A Breville toaster. We've had it for best part of 10 years. It served us well, but those who are observant may realise, do not use the right side. Basically, every time we run toast in the right-hand 2 slots, the circuit for the kitchen goes, and we have to reset the circuit breaker. So it's time to replace it. But what do we replace it with, I hear you ask? So it's finally here. Box is a little crushed. So as with all Sage products, the box comes very well presented, very weighty. Some information on the back. And some of the headline features are the motorised lower and raise features. The bit more setting, which I'm interested to see how often I end up using that. Crumpets and / fruit bread mode. Options for frozen bread, as you'd imagine. Variable browning control with LEDs. Some extra wide sockets for the crumpets and bagels, etc. LED progress display. Like all metal body. Easy to clean, apparently, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, what's in the box? Well, I'd imagine it's pretty much going to be the toaster. I'm not sure there's been much else in here, but... In fact, there's absolutely nothing else in here. Not even a brochure or a manual, which is a little surprising, or a warranty card, or really anything. This was bought brand new from Amazon. Doesn't look like it's been used or anything. Just surprised there's no additional paperwork. So the common recommendation with new toasters is you do plug them in, put them on the highest setting and let them run for their regular cycle, just to clean off the elements and make sure there's no dust forming on them. So even though this is a basic feature that almost every toaster has, I just thought it was worth mentioning here that you do have the channels where you can route where the cables go. So I couldn't quite reach the plug with it in its default configuration like this. So of course you can pop them out, either run the cable out the back or loop it back around this way and throw it out the other side. Noticing here as well about the crumb trays, standard, but that's how you get to them, and they're fairly well hidden from the front actually. Okay, so the toaster's plugged in. As soon as you kind of move one of the dials here at the front, they all light up, as you can see there. And as soon as you've got a setting selected, so I've said we're going to go on the highest here, the toast button lights up. Really appreciate the build quality here as well. Lovely aluminium finish. The buttons feel premium. Obviously they're lit up. I'm going to hit toast on both sides. It's hard to see in this light, but the LED has gone red, and you can see the mechanism there where it locks the slots down, and if there was obviously bread in there, it would slowly drop them down as well. Let it run through its cycle here. Something that a lot of people wonder about once the cycle is finished like this is how warm the toaster is. And I can see heat coming from the top of the toaster. If I put my hands on the side here, this is quite warm, to be honest, and I assume it's the same the other side. Yeah, so on the top edge here, there's quite a lot of heat. At the bottom, less so. I mean, it is warm. Heat at the back. There's a vent at the back that isn't particularly warm. The front isn't particularly warm either, but you do want to avoid touching the sides and keep this well away from kids. I know I'm doing it on the floor here, which is probably not sensible. Yeah, so they do get a bit warm. Some toasters don't really get warm on their first cycle. It's only when you run them repeatedly, whereas this one is warm after one full level 5 cycle, whatever that means. Now, of course, in a lot of review videos like this, the other reviewers would line up a series of 6, 7, 25 toasters and put bread in all of them and see how they come out. But in reality, I only have the 2 toasters, my original one, which is mostly broken, and the brand new one that we've just bought. So we'll start with the baseline, we'll pop a piece of toast in the old one and see how it comes out. Now the process we're going to follow for both this toaster and the new one is to set them both to their medium setting, which in this case is 5, bang in the middle there. I'll pop it into one of the remaining slots that works, and we'll see how we get on. Okay, so the toast is done. First impressions are, sorry, very uneven. We'll pop that to one side and see how the other one does. So how is the new one going to fare? Well, first of all, we'll set the dial to 3, which is the middle. Pop the bread in. We're going to go for the normal setting, so just toast. So that was the locking mechanism there and the lowering mechanism. I will say, first thoughts is the toast is much lower down than it was in the previous toaster. I will take this opportunity to just show you the quick look feature while we've got some bread in there. So if I was to press quick look, it will raise the toast. You can have a quick peek, see how it's getting on, and it should lower itself and continue cooking. Hopefully that won't affect the experiment here too much. And that's the end of the cycle there. I actually love the fact there's not a massive surprise pop. You get a little beep to say it's finished. Toast is still more done on one side than on the other. You can see where the grill marks are there. Now, because we've been running this kind of test and I've been taking photos of the bread, etc., it gives me a chance to use the other feature, which is a bit more, which will... It's kind of for people who decide, oh, actually, I could do with just a tad more cooking on one side or on both sides. We'll see how long it actually decides to put it in there for before it pops it back out again. And we're back up. So it really was just maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds, something like that. And it has done a little more, although it's barely noticeable. So comparing the two then, so this is the original toaster here. This is a little more char grilled than I would typically go for, and the other side is done considerably less. This is the new toaster. Now this is the kind of level I would normally go for. This side is on the light side, if I'm honest. So here's the thing, it's £179 for the toaster, but it's still just a toaster, and at least on this experiment, it did not make completely even bread on both sides. Some of you probably noticed there was a slight bit of disappointment in my voice then when I looked at the toast and realised that one side was still very different than the other. But in the name of science, I did go ahead and butter the toast, and I must say actually it was very enjoyable. The inside of the bread is quite soft, and I'm not used to that. My old toaster used to pretty much put so much heat onto both sides that the middle of the bread would be dry as well. That was actually a very nice bit of toast. So even though it maybe didn't initially look like it was it performed, the flavour was there. So would I recommend the Sage 4-slice smart toaster? Based on the piece of toast that I just had, yes, I would. It was £179 for this from Amazon directly. There is a previous model which has now been discontinued. I needed a toaster anyway. I like some of the features. I like the bit more button. Actually, that was quite a helpful thing. I like the fact there's a timer counting you down. I like the build quality, the LED lights, the slow mechanism, the fact that the bread isn't
being thrown out at you when it pops it out. So I would recommend this if you can afford that kind of money for a toaster. So if any of you are in need of a replacement toaster, maybe you've got a problem with yours like I have, or you just fancy an upgrade, I've left a link for the product in the description. It's an Amazon affiliate link. It'll throw me a couple of quid if you decide to order through that, which would be much appreciated. And it'll kind of help me, encourage me to make more review videos like this every time I order a new piece of tech. So lastly, I'd like to thank you for watching. I would really appreciate if you'd hit the like button and maybe subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one.